They were telling me what church they went to. I'm a Lutheran. My mother was a Lutheran. My dad was a Lutheran. I'm a Lutheran. I'll die a Lutheran. Well, you'll join Luther. There's no problem. He's in hell today. That man was never a saved man. He talked about it. He said, oh, I believe Christ died and paid for my sins. Really? Then why don't you trust him? You believed it historically, but you never believed it to trust him as your Savior because you said in your thing it's baptism, baptism, baptism. In fact, if you're a Lutheran and you're listening, something you ought to do, get the large catechism, which is no bigger than the small catechism, and let me just give you this. Go to the baptism, and you know what that man said? And you're trying to tell me he's in heaven? He's no more in heaven than Satan is. In there he says, if an unbeliever comes and we baptize him, and he's still an unbeliever, his unbelief doesn't make our baptism void. So you baptize an unbeliever who's an unbeliever, stays an unbeliever, and your baptism's going to get him to heaven, Luther? That's what you said. Some of you Luthers need to get out and find out what this man, and your preachers aren't going to tell you. Luther loved him, or not Luther, but Hitler loved him also. So he's got a big part in these 6 million Jews over there because Hitler reprinted everything. He hated the Jews with a passion. And you're following this man as a preacher? This is unbelievable. When I did a study, and I'll say this, if you want to read about that study, I wrote a book on him of what I found that I never dreamed until I investigated him there. Martin Luther, the master of deceit, and he was a master at fooling people. He lied. Holy baptism, he says in his thing. God never said baptism was holy. That's a word that he put. And my Bible says, add thou not unto his words, lest he reprove you, and thou be found a liar. Luther, you're a plain liar.